Dobar dan. We are back, Torben.
Yes, I'm back.
Here. Okay, we are here, so welcome back again.
Can you see my screen already? Because I started sharing.
Yes, I can see it, yes.
Okay.
AromaPus.
Yeah. Okay, should I just start? Is that okay? Everybody's there?
Yeah, we are all here, so
okay.
We are ready for you.
Perfect. So yeah, my last presentation for today, and then we have Isabel coming back for a second presentation after this one. So we want to introduce to you the GEA Aroma Plus, which is the de-alcoholization of beer by membrane filtration that we invented at GEA. You see the name of my colleague Ralf Scheibner, I already mentioned. He is on holiday already, so I'm doing his part on the presentation. On the right side, you partly see one of our skids. And just one thing to mention, what you can see here, it's equipped with 3 pressure housings for the membranes. Yeah, and actually you can see here what is very unique to the unit. This one is built to have an extension to double the capacity. So you can put three more housings in, yeah, without changing anything on the unit. You just, you change a little bit the piping, but you don't change the control, just to let you know. So non-alcoholic beer, why? First of all, you see far down on the right side, the growth of non-alcoholic beer until 2020 and predicted for the next 3 years. So that is an increase of 62% in the last 10 years and an average annual growth of 6%. So, which is a significant amount when we are looking at normal beer, where normal beer production normally is declining. So what are the drivers? So the health conscious of consumers are the drivers, low sugar drinks, all this kind of stuff. And in this category, we have the low or the alcohol-free or low alcohol beers, which is less than 0.5% ABV. Yeah, and then what's supposedly to be called non-alcoholic beers that goes down to 0.05, so 10 times more even down. So as I said, it's consistently outperforming the growth or decline of normal beer sales, and it's getting in the interest to other markets. Just recently, we got an inquiry to build a de-alcoholization unit for cider processes. Yeah, so let's go through that. The principle that we are applying is actually reverse osmosis. The beer and the filtrate, so the permeate, are separated by the GEA Aroma Plus reverse osmosis membrane. This membrane was semi-permeable and selective for alcohol. During the invention of that unit, we gone through different membrane suppliers, and we screened them all and found the best membrane for this process. So how's the process work? So we apply pressure on the beer side, yeah, and that forces then the alcohol and the water to permeate through the membrane into the permeate, and all the other stuff out of the beer, so extract, hops, aroma, color, and salts, etc., stay on the other side. Yeah, so the permeate actually is then a mixture of water and alcohol, which can be used for different applications afterwards, yeah, or it's just wastewater. But there are also always, it's not a waste stream, it's still a valuable stream because you get a water and alcohol mixture during the process. I explained the process in the presentation a little bit more in depth. So at the first, so in the first steps, you really get water and alcohol with the same ABV that you have in your mother beer. Yeah, depending on how low you want to go, you need to also still apply some water, and then you get a more diluted or alcohol water mixture. So let's see how the process works. So first of all, it involves batch tanks, which are not included in the unit. It could be tanks that are already existing in the brewery, or you have to buy batch tanks. And you see the permeate tank is not mandatory. It can also go to drain, but if you want to get the value out of the permeate that there is in that water alcohol mixture, which can be used for CIP waters and dilution waters, because it's actually beer, water coming out of the beer. Yeah, you need a tank as well. So first operation is fill the batch tank. Second operation, we'll start the process. So we recirculating that beer over the batch tank and the membranes. Yeah, you see that little nozzle in the tank, that's a jet mixer that we would apply into the tank so that we always have a homogeneous mixture when we are applying it to the unit. Then we do the pre-concentration. So we concentrate the beer side, so we're removing water, so the extract concentration in that batch tank gets bigger, so the volume gets less. Then we do the diafiltration, and the diafiltration step is the step where I mentioned, then you're not getting into the permeate tank anymore the same ABV as your mother beer had, because we need the deaerated water for diafiltration to wash out the alcohol out of the mother beer. Yeah, so to get down to 0.5 or even 0.05% ABV. Yeah, that's just not possible in a different way. After that, we do the dilution and blending for the end product. Yeah, that always depends on your recipe. There are some people, when you see they make probably non-alcoholic wheat beer, you can see that the non-alcoholic wheat beer is most of the times a little bit stronger in color. That is just dependent that they are not diluting back to the same degree of Plato in the end, or the same, so they're not applying the amount of water to the product that was removed. They are just applying a little bit less, yeah, to even increase more the taste. Yeah, but you have to remember this process, it's a non-thermal process. So all the flavors and everything stays inside the mother beer, inside your non-alcoholic beer. If you look at thermal processes, yeah, especially falling, so in the older times, falling film evaporators, now distillation columns, yeah, the problem that you have is that you would always remove flavor, because some of the flavor components are just soluble in alcohol. If you distillate the alcohol out, yeah, the flavor component will go with it. Yeah, and then if there can be a flavor recovery and you can put it back into the beer, but then you can't get to 0.05 most of the times. Yeah, so during a thermal process, you would always lose some flavor, and we retain all the flavor through that membrane process. So after all that happens, obviously there's CIP cleaning. We're going to look at that a little bit later. There are special membrane cleaners, as they are polymeric membranes, so we need special membrane cleaners. It's a little bit different than ceramic membranes. A sanitation can be done cold or chemical below 50 degrees. Again, polymeric membranes, we can't apply so high temperatures. And there's a membrane passivation so it should be done if the unit is down more than 24 hours. Yeah, tanks and pipes are obviously cleaned with the brewery CIP that you already have. The CIP for the unit is, as it says on the top, is built into the unit, and we will have a look at that later. So an overview of how to integrate the unit into a brewery. As we said, we would need a batch tank, yeah, and there are some other things that are needed. We need deoxygenized water, so deaerated water. Yeah, you see that CIP dosing unit that belongs to that product that you can buy, and then obviously after the process and the dealcoholized beer, we said it needs to be diluted, it needs to be carbonized, and then you heard something about the EcoFlash this morning. Most of the times, because there's no alcohol in the product, there will be a pasteurization step to make it more safe, and then we can all as well deliver filling lines from our new acquired company, GEA Vipol, that is obviously available in the craft market with very special solutions for craft brewers as well. So some technical data for the standard batch process. Standard batch process, I just mentioned, there is the possibility to do it in a continuous way as well, the process that we've just seen. So you get 3 different sets of membranes, and it does all the, so it does the filtration, the pre-concentration, the diafiltration, and the end concentration in one unit. So you just go in and you go out. But most of the times we see that it's more practical for most of the brewers, because beer brewing is a batch process, to use a batch unit as well. Just to keep it in mind for you guys, that there is always the possibility to go to continuous operation with this membrane unit as well. So a batch time, typically 48 hours. We said the annual capacity can vary between 2,500 hectoliters a year to bigger than 250,000 hectoliters a year of non-alcoholic beer that you want to produce. Batch times typically 48 hours, range can be between 24 and 72 hours. The liquids we are applying, roughly between 3 to 10% ABV, depending on the recipe. Target, as we mentioned before, 0.5 or even 0.05 to really call it non-alcoholic. It's a batch configuration, and the typical process runs at a temperature that is below 15 degrees. We standardized these batch units, and we got at the moment like 4 different sizes. You see S, M, L, and then larger units are always available on request. So that is then going on to individual engineering, and you see here on the left side, you see the unit that is a size S, and then you see a very, very big plant with much higher throughputs. Yeah, you see the space you need roughly, yeah, and all the above calculations are for 0.5 ABV sales beer, for the production of 0.05 ABV beers with the same AromaPus unit. That is obviously always possible, but we have to adjust then set points for the diafiltration and the different processes. So some requirements so that you can know what you would need if you are interested in buying such a de-alcoholization unit. Yeah, obviously electrical power. We need compressed air to operate the valves at a 6 bar. Steam or hot water is only necessary for CIP heating of the unit. We need chilled water or glycol cooling to cool the process, obviously, because we are putting in pressure, and so we're putting in energy, and this energy needs to be removed. We need deaerated water for diafiltration, process water for CIP cleaning after the run, and CO2 for the CO2 push out after the cleaning or before production, so that we make sure that's no oxygen inside the unit, so we push everything out by CO2. Then a little look at the scope of supply of the unit that is ready for operation. I mentioned the buffer tanks are not included. Yeah, the membrane unit is skid mounted with MCCs and the PLC. Yeah, this fully pre-cabled and tested. We are using mix-proof valves, so the isolation during CIP. Heat exchanger for cooling and CIP heating is included. The CIP included with valve, pumps, and recirculation tank. The dosing unit for the CIP membrane cleaners is included. And the deoxygenation of the unit obviously also programmed via CO2 push out, as I just mentioned before. So we got the sequence controlled membrane unit production sequences and CIP sequences, so 8 different CIP sequences that are programmed. There's a VPN router on board, so that you can directly, if you want it, get remote access and gear support. It's all programmed on a 15-inch touch panel for the local HMI. Connections to the SCADA system are normally via Ethernet and can be available via Profinet if necessary. The MCCs with the variable speed drives for the pumps of the unit are built on to the skid. Here we have a closer look at the detergent dosing system for the CIP, which we developed with one of our suppliers. What is new is you can dose up to 6 different detergents by just using one pump. Very often we see this dosing units have every detergent has its own pump, but we designed it this way that it can run with just one pump instead of 6. It's a complete and complete and compact design. So as you see, it's in a housing, so it's splash proof, that it's there's no work safety issues. Yeah, and connection only power and water, and then it's ready for operation. Some references we have. So you see different beer styles. Yeah, so wheat beer, IPAs. This is Helles and wheat beer, Belgian beers. Yeah, IPA and pills. Various beers and hard seltzer base. I will come to that topic later on. Yeah, and then you see where we can't say anything about it at the moment, what kind of beers it is, but we are going down to 0.05 or 0.1 actually with the newest installation that we've done, also with the last one that we've done in Germany in this year. Oh no, that's going to be installed in Q3 2021. That's how it is. So let's have a look at the membranes again, and on the right hand side you can see the membranes that are inside this pressure modules. Yeah, we can get high quality beer with a typical aroma profile that is nearly the same as the beer with alcohol. Yeah, so by blind testing trials, it was very hard for people to find that out, which one was which. We can go for 0.5 and 0.05 ABV sales beer. It's non-filtered and it's filtered and non-filtered beers. We get the special membrane in sanitary execution, so it's FDA approved. Yeah, we get built water savings in because we do the deoxygenation and CIP by CO2 blowout. It's a sanitary plant, execution with mix-proofed valves, modular design, as I explained at the beginning. Yeah, so you've seen that unit that had only 3 pressure housings that was upgradable to 6 pressure housings without changing anything on pumps and on the unit. It's a compact and fully pre-assembled unit, integrated PLC control and integrated CIP. So that's the normal unit. And now we come to a brand new invention that we've just released. It's the new AromaPus HP, which is for production of neutral alcoholic base or hard seltzer base. And also it does the same that I just explained to you. It can also de-alcoholize beer in the same installation. So that is obviously interesting for breweries that go beyond only normal beers, that want to expand into that very, very quick growing hard seltzer market, yeah, which is not only growing, which is incredibly growing in America, but also coming over in waves now to Europe. Yeah. So the AromaPus HP is the same unit and the same concept as the AromaPus. It's the same membranes, so you can still do your 0.05 ABV beer. Yeah. It's just a special execution to also process fermentation broths from NMB fermentations. So, and I mentioned during the flash pasteurizing presentation, I mentioned that these, let's say, the word for producing NMB or hard seltzer is completely different because it's containing less grains and stuff. So it's just like water and sugars and this kind of things. So it's a little bit different to process. Yeah, good. So we are featuring here the dual use capability. So if you would buy a unit like this, you can still do your production of your different non-alcoholic beers, and you can produce a neutral alcoholic base to produce hard seltzers. Just a quick one for the hard seltzers. That's going to be mentioned by Isabel. So Isabel is going to have a presentation after this here, going into depth what hard seltzer and the hard seltzer process means. Yeah. In the end, and I mentioned that the water and the alcohol is a valuable product. For hard seltzer, also the neutral alcoholic base, it's changed. So for the de-alcoholization, your product is staying on the right side of the membrane. Let's put it that way, on the non-filtered side. Yeah, and for the hard seltzer part, it's the permeate, so that what goes through the membrane is the product, and the neutral alcoholic base that you can then process and add flavors and this kind of stuff. Okay, and that leads me actually to the end of the presentation for, oh no, there's one more slide that I shouldn't forget. So there are actually pilot plans available for trials. So if you are interested in that, we can always see that we can arrange a pilot plan trial in-house, or we can also arrange something that it comes to your site. But most of the times we would say for the first trials, we do it in-house, and we can facilitate for GEA clients a contract to conduct trials at the University of Weinstefan, where we delivered one of the first units that we have. So you can bring your beer in kegs, we can do the de-alcoholization process, yeah, we can put it back into kegs, yeah, and then you can do the tasting and the trial, how it, if it successfully fulfills your wishes for your non-alcoholic product. So, but that was the end of the presentation for the AromaPus, one membrane de-alcoholization unit that is very unique to the market and one of our unique selling points within GEA. So thank you very much for the opportunity to present that. And yeah, if there are any questions, let me know.
Okay, thank you, Torben, very much. It was very interesting, your presentation right now. I'm very surprised the way how it's possible to be done. I have one question about this facility you said can be tried. So if I understand well, this machine can be tried off is in Weinstefan University.
Yes.
So it's a bit difficult for us to try and test it from out here. So.
Oh, we've done that with customers from different countries.
You did?
Yeah. Yeah. You fill your alcoholic beer into a keg. Okay. We ship it there, and they process it and ship the other stuff back.
And we can see the results, how it.
Yeah. Right.
It's interesting to know.
You can even, after Corona times, you can even come to Munich and be there with the trial. Yeah,
that would be interesting. Yeah, we can organize that. This is very interesting and very good offer. I mean, it's different when you see it, how it works, and if your results yourselves.
Yeah. So. Again, this would always be our starting point, as we said, 100-liter scale, so 2 big kegs or 4 small kegs, to be delivered and then be delivered back.
Yeah, this is minimum 2 can be done actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
it fits in the car. So if you decide to come,
it fits in the car. So we've done that with customers from. So you've seen that with customers from Belgium and UK and stuff. We've done all that. Yeah, because that's the first question that they all ask: will it really taste? Yeah. So we can do the trials, and we were very successful with that unit because the most hardest one is probably Helles or Pilsner. To keep really the flavor and don't have this non-alcoholic taste that you have, where you have to re-add some word or something to mask that. We have very successful customers that done Pilsner and Helles, and it's nearly, if you wouldn't know it, and I put there a Pilsner with alcohol and with not alcohol, it's really, really hard. You must be really trained to spot where's the difference.
So that's very good to know. So we're going to see you on university to try it. I mean, that's next step, as soon as it's finished with all these things.
Good.
Okay. Thank you very much, Torben.
No problem.
Very interesting to hear you. And as I said earlier, as soon as I get some